Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 159. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Saberwolf. We're going to be going over Daredevil Born Again, episodes 1 to 3. We're going to be talking about Invincible, episode 7 from season 3, and any other nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and if you're watching us on a replay, leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Without further ado, here we go. Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, bro. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just been hanging out.
Yeah. It's been a couple of busy weeks since we sat down last. We've obviously had like 3 episodes of Daredevil now, and I think 2 episodes of Invincible since we sat down last. And
hmm
then the kind of pop culture world's been kind of a bit mad as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a good episode. How have you been? How's work? How's everything else?
Works fine. Just got off on call. And just kind of trying to go with the flow with what's going on at work. Trying to create like new things. I've asked them before. I said, "Hey, I'm kind of running out of things to do. Like, what do I do if I just kind of don't have anything on my plate that I can add?" And they're like, "Oh, well, just check channels, look through things, think about like what you could do to update, and you can make a story of that." So even if it's like documentation updates, or if you want to take another look at some of the architecture that we have, some of the platforms, any of the applications that maybe you think that would need like an update or an upgrade or something, then you discuss that with the team that's involved and whatnot. And so like they're one of the things that they kind of brought my way was something that I've worked on in the past. And um it's kind of bare bones right now. They haven't told me like what architecture they use, what log shippers that they use and whatnot for their services and whatnot. So it's it's kind of up in the air, but it's exciting because it's like, okay, well, this is completely like out of the blue.
Mm.
um and so it's going to be a little more difficult, probably going to stress out a bit about it, but I think I'll pull through once I understand like what their architecture looks like.
Yeah. You got this, bro. It's always good to have kind of new challenges and work as well. Keeps things fresh. There's nothing worse than going stagnant in the job and just kind of doing repetitive tasks. You learn to hate the place very quickly. So it's good that you're getting to spread your wings and learn new things. And
And the crazy thing about it is that I guess like under our contract, we're technically not supposed to do any like development work.
okay,
And some of the stuff I've done in the past was technically development work.
yeah,
So, but we were like, it's saving you money. It's saving you money,
yeah,
buddy. Don't
yeah,
worry about it. It's saving you money.
yeah. Fair play, fair play. Um, so my understanding, we had a quick chat just before we went live, and you informed me, which I'm shocked about, but you haven't actually seen all 3 episodes of Daredevil. So what I'd love to do, because I sat down on this channel last week, I was too excited. I could not go live. So I went live solo, first ever solo stream. It wasn't a podcast episode officially. So for anyone who listens to the podcast regularly, you haven't missed anything. It was just me live on the channel, just kind of hanging out and shooting the shit. But I had to just kind of get my initial thoughts out there. So I haven't spoke to you about your initial thoughts. So I'm very curious what you thought of how much you've seen so far. And also, if people in the chat are asking me questions about the other episodes, Alex doesn't mind being spoiled about things as well. So we
Not
can
at all.
talk about like the latest episode, which I literally just finished watching before we went live. So it is fresh in my mind. So um yeah, I think let's just dip into a bit of Daredevil. Tell us like what you saw, just episode 1, was it?
Episode one and then like a small chunk of episode two.
Okay. Um right. So basically, Hefty's just popped in here. He's an Irish streamer. What's up, dude? How are you? Appreciate you stopping in, bro. He says White Tiger needs a better suit. And again, I'm not going to jump straight to episode 3 right now. I kind of want to get your initial input first, but just to make a very quick comment on that, I don't think that's going to matter anymore, Hefty.
No,
So
no, it's fine. Like I'm already aware of White Tiger. I've seen some clips of him.
yeah,
Um,
White Tiger has a very important role in episode 3. Let's just say. So, sorry, just not to sidetrack, but
no,
go on.
you're good.
Tell us what you think so far of what you've seen.
So far what I've seen is that they've taken uh, the way that this is showing up right now currently, like as I was watching episode two, is that episode one was kind of like a prologue, in
Mm.
the sense because they're starting things up, and then episode 2 is like the actual start of the show. From what I understand, they added episode 1 in the sense that they didn't want to make Foggy's death a thing off screen anymore because of like the bitching and complaining that they had, like because it's dumb. Like, why would you have an important character die off screen? Like, it's
I agree. Still a little emotional about this. Like, I don't know if you know my opinions on episode one, but I obviously loved the fact, and we spoke about this for months and months on the lead up to the show. But like, we knew all this stuff was happening with the
yeah.
overhaul and the rewriting and the fact that they brought Foggy and Karen back and everything. But just sitting there watching episode one and just seeing Foggy die straight away, I'm still upset about it. Like, it still pisses me off. It's like, why bring him back to, like, I nearly would have preferred him to die off screen because I just didn't want to see Foggy die. I'm so, like, I love the character so much. But like, what did you think of all of that? Like, was that a good decision in your opinion? Like,
No, I think with Foggy dying, I think that's their way of kind of trying to set up the overall design of the show, being that Matt is not going to put on the suit
yeah.
for fucking I don't know how many episodes, but we're not going to see the suit for a while, from what I
So like,
understand.
this was again, like, to go back to the original vision of the show was, they die off screen. Matt is in a depression. He's not Daredevil. He's just being a lawyer. And like, that's what we're seeing right now,
Yeah.
like, the only difference that we've seen so far is that they just brought Foggy back to physically kill him in front of us. So, I'm like, fuck you, Foggy, for this. How dare you? And then they bring Karen back and now she's gone again. So it's like, I don't know. Like, it feels
They
like
should
we're
have called
still in, feels like we're still in the old show.
they should have called it Daredevil Gone Again.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. Like, there and gone. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's like, how do you do that? Like, why? Like, what movie do you know that like really starts off with that and then like continues to be good at that point? Like, I really think that like stingers like that are very hard to come by. Like, Man of
Yeah.
Steel was kind of one of those, but it kind of led a bit further in. It wasn't like immediately. It was a little bit later. Like when you see Clark's. I can't remember what the Kent family's name is, or
Yeah.
their. But basically, you see like he's just standing there. He gets sucked up by the tornado, and then it's like he's gone, and it's an emotional moment. And I get what they were trying to do, but like they didn't do
Mhm.
it from the very beginning, which was kind of nice. Like we got to actually experience, the fatherhood coming through, like for why Clark is such a good character, and why when he's Superman he's not an asshole.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so like when you do this, when you do it from the get go, especially for a TV series, it's like buckle up, people, nothing's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
really, if you kill someone and then you essentially make the main character go into a depression, we're not gonna see shit for a while.
Yeah. I wonder, because again, I've been hearing different reports from different kind of leakers and stuff out there. Some people are saying the first two episodes were the original script, and then the next couple of episodes are the new show. And then I've heard other people say like the first four episodes are the original show, and then we're gonna get some new stuff towards the end of season one. So like, I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know which one it is." Like, again, I've seen episode three now. Most of us have here, and it's like, it still kind of feels like it was a good episode, but it just feels like it still might be part of the original script. Um, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Mm.
Um, welcome in Rush. Rush says I want a Dupe to make an appearance. Hilarious. Dupe is like such a crazy character. He's definitely going to be in like Secret Wars, 100%. I don't think he's arriving in a street level show in New York though. But how fucking crazy would that be if he was just there and sitting in the back of the courtroom, just like with his little X t-shirt on? It'd be crazy. Um, yeah, I don't know, like, but like, I still feel like the show is moving a little slow, considering like we have what, 9 episodes this season. Like, I'm not saying that I like, a lot of people I see criticizing the show because it is um ignore stream elements here. I'm sorry. I'm refining Streamlabs. So just ignore that. Use all the caps you want, Hefty. Use them all. You use all
The
of
security has just come in. It's like, hey man.
yeah, cab down there. Duke's not here yet. But yeah, basically, like I love the original show. I love all the court case scene, like the court scenes and stuff like that. Like in episode 3, we get a lot of courtroom stuff, and like I'm down for that. I love it. Like, and I think a lot of people might find it to be a little slow, and they want more action, and they want the suit on, and they want him to be Daredevil and stuff. But like, I don't mind that stuff at all. The episode I think was about 40 minutes without like credits and stuff. So, it's kind of 20 minutes shorter than the Netflix show usually is. So part of me is just like, like it's moving a bit slow because of the pacing of it. But at the same time, like I just want to like obviously experience it all. But I just feel like, if it was released on Netflix, it would probably be released all at once. And then it's like it would have just been you definitely would have watched the episode after.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm saying. When is episode 8? When episode 8 is releasing? I think it's like mid-April, I believe, is when the season finishes, and then we have like 2 weeks, and then it's going to be Thunderbolts hitting the big screen. So it's actually working out pretty nicely in the timetable for the year, because obviously we had Captain America 4. This show's kicked off. This show's going to be on for like 6 or 7 weeks, or 6 weeks, I think. And then we're going in like 2 weeks later into Thunderbolts. So we've got a lot going on. Welcome in, Emmy, by the way. So yeah, like man, what did you think of like the CGI and stuff like at the start? Again, I some people might be kind of tired of talking about episode 1, but again, we haven't spoken about it yet. So I'm just curious what you thought. Like, what did you think of him like swinging around and doing all the acrobatics and like the kind of shitty CGI at the start of the show?
I mean, as shitty as it was, like it's in the dark, so it's really hard to tell like whether it's like truly shitty or if it just has some. It's not going to be perfect.
It was shitty. That's calling nice here. It was.
I mean,
it was bad, bro.
You put anything in the dark, it doesn't make it look that bad. But but if you still see it, then I totally get that. I was kind of skimming through it. I didn't really notice too much of the acrobatics. I think I was just more focused on the like trying to turn off my brain and just enjoy it for the moment. And the situation with Poindexter was a little bit odd in my opinion as well, but I did like the fight scene in between when they were actually like fighting within the hallway and then up the stairs. And then you see like how Poindexter keeps throwing like objects at him and throwing knives at him and kind of getting a couple hits here and there, but then Daredevil's able to deflect a couple of them. But that also means like Bullseye is just so good that even if Daredevil deflects it, I'm pretty sure he knows like he would have hit the target. Like it's pretty cool. I like that kind of stuff. I think that in terms of the show, I think like it needs to evolve and be a little bit more on the lines of adding a bit more action to it, because I really do like that kind of stuff. I think that Daredevil works well as a show where like if things don't work well in the court, let's bring it out into the streets, and then I can do my vigilante business. And because Fisk is in the way currently as mayor, obviously it's going to be a tough gig. Maybe some officers are going to come by and they're allowed to shoot Daredevil on sight. Like they don't have to try to withhold him anymore. That there's no vigilante justice anymore that's like necessary, but the people want it. So like I do like the duality of it. And I'm hoping to see that soon. But as far as I know, it just seems like it's going to be a very like talkative show, which I agree with you. I'm not against it, but at the same time, I feel like as we move forward with shows, especially with like courtroom shows, it needs to evolve even further. If I would say that She-Hulk had a really good run with having the opportunity to do a lot of courtroom scenes. Yeah. And then like eventually have her transform into She-Hulk and be just She-Hulk at the courtroom. And I think that would have been really fun, but they went a different route. So like Daredevil, I think is great. It would be good with a great mixture. And as far as I know right now, it's just a lot of talking. I barely just saw a courtroom scene.
Yeah, so episode 3 is a big courtroom scene for
Yeah.
pretty much the entire episode. It's great. It's done really well. There's a bit of humor there. There's a little cheeky reference to Miles Morales' father. He's brought up
Mhm.
Matt's like mentioning um officer reports and stuff, and he's like Officer Morales, and everyone's like, oh, it's like it's Miles, he's here. So it's cool. It's cool. Like Miles is in the MCU, but maybe he's only like fucking 8 years old or something at the moment. We don't know, but it's cool that they're dropping names like that. And I don't know if you noticed at the episode, I think it was at the start of episode 2, Fisk is talking on the TV and he mentioned Spider-Man as well. So like there's little tiny nods happening. Like, they're kind of like, hey guys, we're in the MCU now, we can do this sort of thing. So
It's
that
great.
yeah, that shit's really cool. It's really good. So I don't know if you've seen yet, but there's also a couple of the cops have like Punisher logo tattoos and stuff on them. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, yeah, those are like considered the corrupt cops.
Yeah, so I think like again, I don't know for sure. I didn't read the comics or anything like that, but my understanding is that there's kind of like a division of the police who kind of worship Castle. They worship the Punisher, like taking justice into his own hands and stuff like that. And I think they call themselves the Punishers. They're like a group, but it's going to become very prominent. Like we see like Punisher skulls that are spray painted on the streets, and we see like another guy in this episode. And he has like a Punisher tattoo. He's a cop, like he's a street cop, and he's got like the Punisher thing tattooed on his fucking neck and all. Like it's pretty ridiculous, but it's cool looking. But yeah, I
Mhm.
think like that's definitely going to be a big plot for the story. My guess is that's what brings Frank back to New York, and that's what gets him back involved. Is that he's probably not going to like what's going on, people using his logo and using his name to fight justice. I think that's what's going to bring him back into the show. To kind of jump to the end of episode 3 as well. Like there's a crazy kind of end to the episode, and it looks like I kind of don't want to spoil it on you, but basically,
Go for it.
uh, no, I'm not gonna spoil it on you. But
Yeah,
basically,
it's fine.
no, I don't want to. I can't, bro. I can't. It's a good moment that I'd like for you to experience it properly. But basically, something happens at the very end, and you see a dude walking away, and it's happening at night. He's wearing like a long jacket, hood up, and everything like that. But then you see his jacket's open, and as he comes up to the camera, you see the bulletproof vest with the Punisher logo. So it some people I'm sure are probably thinking this is Frank. Oh my god, it's Frank. But I don't think it actually is Frank. I think it's somebody pretending to be the Punisher or one of these members of the Punisher crew. I don't think it's actually Frank himself. But yeah, like I think next week's episode is going to be very interesting with all this developing, because I don't know if this is part of like maybe Fisk has a plan. Obviously on paper he wants to, you know, like make vigilantism illegal in New York. Like that's kind of the story. We know that's coming, which is going to affect the entire MCU. Obviously, like a lot happens in New York, but I think behind the scenes as well, I think he's probably going to orchestrate maybe trying to kill a couple of vigilantes and get a few vigilantes off the table. So that might force him back to Daredevil. I presume that's where it's going. Again, I'm just guessing. I don't know. We haven't met Muse yet. Like even by the end of episode 3, we haven't seen Muse. I think we saw him in episode 2 in like his street clothes, like the man behind the mask, but we haven't actually seen Muse yet. So I'm very
Mhm.
excited to see him because I've heard he is like disgusting, like like real twisted character, and I think that's kind of why it's gotten the mature rating, because he's like using people's body parts to create art and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be really gruesome when he actually does show up. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Isn't that kind of something similar to what Zaz does? Like, doesn't he cut up people? Like
Yeah,
in
yeah. In
DC?
DC, yeah, yeah, you would, yeah. Um, I don't know if it's like this bad. Like it kind of does strike me kind of like a bit of a DC villain. There's a DC villain called the Doll Maker, and he kind of kills women and turns them into like dolls and dresses them up and all, and
Mhm.
leaves them on crime scenes and stuff like that. So I kind of get a bit of a DC vibe to this guy because it's super dark. Like I don't think Marvel really do that sort of stuff. Like
Mhm.
he's definitely on paper more of a DC villain, I would say. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's interesting though that with the like with that, like it'll be nice to see a little bit more bloodshed then. Like it
oh yeah,
should be a more mature design when it comes to these characters, especially like a lot of the New York based characters are very dark. There's a lot of shit that's going on. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of vigilantism, and it's definitely an issue. So like if we see more bloodshed, I'll be more interested. I think right now they're just trying to establish the whole mayorism
Hmm.
situation, or a mayoral like election, and
Yeah,
the like sort of his rise or his tolerance levels
yeah,
as he's going forward, because he considers himself a changed man, and of course Matt doesn't agree with that. He still thinks that there's something under his sleeve, like he's just got something hiding. And I think it's more along the lines of, we're going to see that Vanessa's just been handling um all of the underground work, and
hmm,
Fisk is literally trying to be a bit more of a person that wants to protect the city, but then he incorporates what Vanessa's been doing, and then essentially starts uh, banging the gavel down and just start going insane, which I think will work.
I like so when we first meet like Vanessa again, and she's kind of like, I was calling her Lady Kingpin, like she's kind of like, she's taken over the criminal side of things while Fisk is trying to go straight in the public eye. I like that dynamic. I don't like the idea that she cheated on him, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, because like the whole kind of point of these two is that like they like ride or die for each other,
Mhm.
and like nothing like would ever get in between them. But in the show, she's talking about how she's had an affair with a guy, and she's like, "Oh, please don't kill him," and all this stuff. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not that man anymore." It's like, what? And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" I was like, "That is
Yeah,
a weird way to fucking to go with the story." I love her taking over again. At the
yeah.
same time, it does feel a little far fetched, because like when we first meet her, she's like an art fucking seller, and I can't imagine her being like a kingpin. But at the same time, like you do kind of morph into your partner in a way. So it's not crazy. I don't hate the idea, but
Well, you essentially see her like kind of transforming as we go along as well, because as you see the relationship starting to grow, she literally is like, "Don't keep things from me. Just keep me in the loop on things. Just let me know what's going on. I can handle it."
yeah,
And so it's like she's very much interested in the power. And so
yeah,
like I can totally see that in this season, how she's kind of like taken over, and she's like, "You know what? I like this. I think this is
yeah.
great." So I don't think it's too far fetched. Maybe we need to, maybe like we'll rewatch like some of the older episodes as well and see like how she transforms. But I'm pretty sure from what I remember, it's fairly certain that she's like enjoying it.
I'm actually she definitely gets a kick out of it. Like it's nearly a kink thing when they first get together. She's kind of like turned on by the power and stuff. But at the same time, I never kind of bought that she was going to start killing people and getting involved in the like gang on gang violence and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, times change. People, she was on the run for so long. Like I'm actually in the middle of a rewatch. I started rewatching it, but my rewatch kind of slowed down. So I'm actually on season 3 at the moment. So when I'm watching the new episode, like the next day I'm going back and watching a Netflix episode, and like I'll just say it, the Netflix show is so much better. Like it really is. Everything about it, just even like the way that they shoot it, like it just feels so much better. It's so much, I don't know, it feels more real. And like even I was watching one of the episodes, and like Matt, at the start of season 3, where he's kind of only half got his hearing and he's back wearing the black mask and stuff. And there
Hmm.
was the one where he goes into like the laundromat and he's like kicking the shit out of people and stuff. And I'm just like, this looks so much better than the fighting in the new show. Like, and I don't know. It's just like I kind of understand where they're, or I understand the idea of what they're trying to do with the new show. They're trying to
Hmm.
make him more comic accurate. He's a little more acrobatic. He like jumps around, and it's a little more comic booky because he's in the MCU now. I understand that. Like they're trying to maybe step away from the realism of the Netflix show a little bit, but like I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. Um, like the start of episode 1, like I had my hands in my head watching that. Like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just so bad. Like when he's like zipping through the sky like Spider-Man and stuff. Like I love that. I've always wanted to see it, but it just didn't look right. And I don't know if it's like the TV that I have is just too good, so it looks shit on my TV. Like I have a 65-inch OLED, it's 120 hertz. Like I see shit like crystal clear. Maybe my TV's too good. I heard Josh from the Den of Nerds talk about this. It's like the human brain is like supposed to skip frames. Like you're kind of, if you see stuff too real, it kind of looks fake then, because you're supposed to like the human mind is supposed to kind of fill in some of the blanks. So you're like nearly like not having the best quality is a better thing because like your
Mhm.
imagination kicks in a little bit. It's like a film school thing, but like I think just like TVs and technology, everything's so good now that you're seeing stuff that's just like if it was the old days and you were seeing it on a CRT TV, like and it just looked shit, it would look way better. Like it happens to be all the time. I'm rewatching movies that I used to watch when I was younger, and they look like absolute shit now because TVs and everything are so good, right? And like
Right.
they re-release stuff in 4K, and while it looks great and like this the still frames and stuff like that, like special effects don't carry over and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know if it's like falling victim to that a little bit, but at the same time, the Netflix show didn't really do all the acrobatic shit,
Mhm.
you know. But then at the same time, I went back and only rewatched it recently. His scenes in the She-Hulk show where he was flipping around in the car park and stuff, that looked fucking great. Like way
Oh,
better
yeah.
than what this show looks like, which is really strange. So like to anybody who's listening, right? Like, go back and rewatch the episode of She-Hulk where he's in the show and they're fighting in the car park, right? Rewatch that. Rewatch him, like when she throws the car at him, and he's doing the flips, and when she like breaks the ground and he like kind of does the seesaw thing and does the backflip and keeps himself up and stuff. Like that shit looked really, really good. And then when you go to this show, when he's doing like the acrobatics and stuff and coming in, and like when he lands on the fire escape, bro, I nearly started crying. I couldn't believe it. It was so terrible. I was like, what am I looking at here? This is just terrible. I was like, how could they put that into the final cut? Like, I was like, that's just really bad. Um, Again, I'm probably nitpicking here, but I love this character and I love this show so much that I hate when I see stuff in the show that like I wouldn't greenlight myself. Like if I was in the director's chair, if I was sitting in the fucking editing room and they presented this to me as the final cut, I'd say, lads, that's not ready. What are we doing here? Like you can't put that out to Daredevil fans. Like that's crazy. I just don't know how Feige sat down and watched this and went, yep, that's cool. Put it on the fucking website, upload it to Disney Plus. I honestly, it blows my mind. It really
Mm.
does. It blows my mind because to me that's like pre-production, like previs or whatever they call it, like where they haven't even done like the special effects properly. Like it looked so terrible. And maybe it's just my TV, I don't know, but it looked really bad. And me and my girlfriend looked at each other and just went, "Oh no!" Like we were like, "Oh no, Disney's done it again." Like we thought, like straight away, "Oh shit, what have they done?" Now, by the time again, the first episode for me was very shaky. I was really upset by that and the Foggy Death, like the two of them together. The first like 20 minutes of the show, I was struggling, bro, struggling. But then by the end of episode one and then into episode two, by the end of episode two, I don't know if you've seen the end of episode two. There's this great fight scene at the end of episode two, and I was like, okay, I kind of breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, okay, I think we're good. I think we're okay.
Gotcha.
And now this week again, it's not that the show was slow. Like there wasn't a massive amount of action in it, which I'm thinking is fine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, it didn't like I need to see more of the good stuff to know that the show's in good hands, if that makes sense. I
Right.
think court-wise scene and stuff like the writing, everything's fine. Matt feels great in the courtroom. Like the dialogue is good, like the writing's good. I just need to see more of him kicking ass, and I need to see more Daredevil. And definitely want to
Gotcha.
see the new suits on screen and stuff.
Oh, of
Kid,
course.
Kidjin, what's up, brother? How are you? Welcome in. Yeah, we're chatting about the new episodes. I'm trying to not spoil everything because Alex hasn't seen some of them, and I know you say you don't mind, but at the same time, I don't want to because you will watch them, and I feel like it might not be the best vibe if I tell you what happens. You're not going to enjoy it as much as you would if you didn't watch it. I
Oh,
want to go.
well,
oh,
I
I
would
want to
say
bring
that
this
like
comment back up really quickly. I just want to bring this
sure.
comment up because it is an older comment in the chat. But Dan says that the first episode was the first full episode of Daredevil that he watched, which is insane to me. Like, Daniel, I don't know if Dan's still here. If you can still hear me, Dan, please go back and rewatch the original show because the original show, in my opinion, is peak superhero television. Like, it is the greatest superhero TV show that we've gotten and possibly might ever get. Like, I'm rewatching it for like the fourth time now, and it's as good as day one. It really is.
Mhm.
It really is. Kitchen, have you seen the episodes? What do you think? Are you liking it? I give away everything. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Um, Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Like, do you have do you have anything else you want to add to it? Like, anything else? Any other notes that you kind of or thoughts that you had?
Just that I really think that like in terms of Daredevil, I think the like we've already talked about this, but the direction to kill off a character that like we actually like is kind of odd to me. Like I get that can make for a decent story, but like I really wanted it to be like a mid story kind of situation, like mid season. Maybe he gets taken down, and then it turns into like this depression feeling, and then like the rising up. But I know that like in terms of what they're looking to do as with Fisk as mayor, they're giving him like some sort of direction to go for. I think it would have just been met with like much more malice or even like justice in the sense from like Daredevil's sense that maybe like he would just continue to do what he's doing. Yes, he would be angry, but like it would just create this like sense of like bloodlust,
Hmm.
and not so much like waiting in the wings for that bloodlust to occur later.
Yeah. Um, I have two questions for you, and I was just curious of your how you took it. Do you think when he threw Poindexter off the roof, do you think that he was trying to kill him,
Oh
or do
yeah,
you think so?
oh yeah,
So I've seen a theory out there that because you know the way at the end of the original show, the last scene that we see, it's like an after credit scene. Poindexter's getting the surgery on him, and like he gets like fitted with like a new skeleton and stuff like that, and like it kind of gives him powers. It's kind of like he's becoming like the comic version of himself. I've
yeah.
seen some people saying out there like that, like maybe Daredevil could like smell that like his skeleton was like reinforced or something, so he threw him off the roof knowing that he would survive, and like he's
Hmm.
still kind of good. I like that. Although when I did first watch it, my first initial thought was, "Holy shit! Like he's a killer! Like what the hell?" And like that again, that was another reason why I was so shook up on at the start of the first episode because I'm like, Matt would never do this. Like, what the hell am I watching? You know, it's like Foggy's dead. Matt's a murderer now. You know, like I'm like, what is happening? Like, and I'm like, and the CGI shit. Like this is fucking terrible. I'm like, I was really fucking shook up at the start of the show. So I when I heard that theory, I was like, that actually probably makes sense because like again, you got to think like, what was the point of showing him on the operating table at the end if like it doesn't come out later on that like he's enhanced now. Like I'm not thinking
Hmm.
like adamantium, like he's not like fucking Wolverine, but like he's got like a reinforced skeleton. So, and I think it was like when I first saw it as well, I paused and I was like counting. I was like, okay, he's like 4 stories up. Like, is he actually dead? So I was like, what the fuck? So like, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe Matt knew, and that maybe that's why he threw him off, and that kind of
Possibly.
redeems the character a bit. Kidjan says having a good time with him, a little sad about how things are going as well, but we're only 3 episodes in. I do feel that way. Like and this is kind of half the problem. Like I love having chats every week about this stuff and like slowly watching it build up and stuff like that. I think that's great. But at the same time, it would be great to have like half the season to watch all of in one go and we could get a proper feel for it. Because I really
Hmm.
feel like the Disney Plus model of like releasing stuff weekly, while I understand why they do it, you want to fill up 3 months of the calendar with Daredevil, and then you want to move on to Andor. You kind of want to have giving people a reason to be subscribed to Disney Plus every week. I understand that from a business point of view. There is a lot to say though for the Netflix model of just like releasing every episode all at once. So like when Daredevil season 2 came out, I remember I watched like 8 episodes on the first day. You know what I mean? So like I
Right.
went for like 8 hours straight on like a Saturday, and it was just epic. You know what I mean? And then like when you go and watch like if you do like a binge of a show, and like I've seen this with some of the Disney Plus stuff. Like some of the Disney Plus stuff works a lot better when you do a binge of it. Hawkeye's a perfect example. If you watch like the first 4 episodes of Hawkeye in one sitting and then do the final two, it actually flows a lot better. Like a good piece of content, but having to sit through that every week, some of the episodes are slow, some of them aren't. Like if you could have bundled the first 3 episodes into one view with this show, by the end of episode 3, you'd be like, oh my god, that was fucking great. You know?
Hmm.
Whereas
Exactly.
we had to wait a week to watch 40 minutes. A lot of it was courtroom, and then there was some epic shit sprinkled in between. And while yes, it was good, it just feels slow at the same time because again we had to wait a week to watch that, whereas
Right.
if it was all released out you would have just that would have been bundled up with episode 2. Like there would have been no way in hell after the end of episode 2 that you would have turned it off. You would have kept going. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Hawkeye getting a season 2 and not Moon Knight is killing me.
Oh yeah,
I
that's killing me too, man. Like I would much rather have Moon Knight more so than Hawkeye. Hawkeye was fun, but like
I
Moon Knight is definitely needs something more.
I
And
think
I
we're
think
getting
that
more Moon Knight. I think
I hope
that's
so.
I don't think maybe it's not official, but when I hear things off certain people that I know kind of have their ears to the ground and they know insiders and stuff. So when I hear people like My Time to Shine Hello, when I hear her say stuff, I kind of take that as like this is official now. So
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure she said that he will return, but just not in his own show, which I'm fine with. I think that's fine. I don't mind that at all. I think
Okay.
the show was probably aired too early. I think it was before its time. You know, if
Mhm.
they released that show now and we could have actually seen some of those gory fucking scenes without it just fading to black and us waking up at the end just going, "Oh my god, what happened?" Did they turn it around and there's dead bodies everywhere? I think if we actually got to see some of that, I think the show would have probably been received a lot better, but I understand why they didn't do it at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, like yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I wanted to ask you another question as well. Fuck, I was gonna write it down and I was like, oh no, I'll ask him in a minute now and I won't forget it. And now I've
Oh
forgotten.
no.
It'll come back to me. Let's just keep going. Um Good show, but Moon Knight being a show was so good. Needs to be star lead. Blade may never happen. You know, there was a joke in Deadpool 3 where Wesley Snipes said, like, you know, I'm the only Blade and will ever be the only Blade or something. Like they kind of poked fun at it. And now I think, you know, maybe they knew something. Maybe that was said for a reason, you know. Like I kind of feel they originally announced Blade back in like 2019, and
Mhm.
we haven't even seen him yet. We heard his voice at the end of Eternals, which was 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we're uh we're kind of a bit stuck here. Like, you know, we haven't seen anything at all to do with Blade. You know, I understand a lot of the ideas that they have, Midnight Suns, and you know, maybe a thing with Moon Knight or whatever, or him mixing in with like Punisher and all that sort of stuff. Like, I think on paper there's a lot of really cool ideas where they could do some really, really good shit. I
Mhm.
just don't know if they're actually going to pull the trigger on this stuff at this stage. Because, like, again, when is all this going to happen? Like, is this stuff reboot stuff that we're thinking about here? Is like this has to be after like Secret Wars at this stage. Like, and again, I think like if we get to Secret Wars, which I think is kind of going to be the end of the MCU as we currently know it, like, is there a point of bringing in Mahershala Ali at that point? Like, bringing him in at the very end, I think it would kind of just feel a bit weird. And then, like, you know, we get a new universe at the end, and then he's just there. I don't know. I'd kind of like to see him introduced like slower than that. You know,
Right.
it's tough to know. It's really tough to know. Um, did you hear about the streaming number, like the numbers? Like, I think Disney Plus released like viewership numbers for episode 1 of the show.
No, no, I haven't seen anything yet.
Uh, they're not good. So again, I think these numbers are just for like North America. I don't think they're worldwide numbers,
Mhm.
but I think within the first 5 days, the first episode did like 7.5 million viewers. And I think that's like 7.5 million like accounts or households or however you want to say it. Like, it's not
Right.
actually like people. There's no way that they could actually know that. Like, you know, so like one viewing could be like 6 people sitting in a room watching it. So, you know, I think it's like actual accounts watching the show is like 7.5 million, which sounds like a pretty good number, but not when you hear that Agatha All Along did better. Agatha All Along had better numbers.
Which is so weird.
It's
Like
very weird.
I'm
Now,
not I wasn't a fan of Agatha all along. Like it just seemed very much like shoehorned its way into like the good graces of a bunch of people. But like, I mean, if they enjoyed it, I get it. But at the same time, it just didn't feel like a Marvel show. Like it just felt like a kind of like Yellow Brick Road situation. Like they're going down the witch's road and there's a bunch of obstacles. They have to solve the puzzle and then they're good. I don't think I've ever really seen anything of that sort, like within Marvel shows or movies, as far as I remember. I don't. I know that like in Moon Knight's sense, like there's some puzzles to solve, there's some people to interact with, but it was more along the lines of like we're trying to find the trail, and then we're gonna like work with Khonshu to make sure that we seal away this gator god. And
Mhm.
it I don't know. Like, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that there were other shows that might have had more puzzles in it than we thought?
I don't know, man. It's hard to know. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, like I my idea of like why the show may be like not performing compared to something like Agatha is just number one, maybe it's down to the rating. Perhaps
Mhm,
just people aren't allowed to watch it. Like Agatha was a show for all, so maybe just more kids were watching it, maybe.
mhm,
But realistically, I like the numbers are kind of alarming because it's like, we know how big the Netflix show was. We know how much they kind of marketed the show and how much like Disney and Marvel tried to push it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a really poor performance. Now, I don't know if people heard the Foggy died in episode one and they're like, I'm not watching the show, or maybe they watched the opening scene and they just weren't feeling it or something. I don't know. Um, maybe that's part of it. I'd love to know what the likes of like the entire worldwide numbers are, because I can imagine, like, again, I checked Disney Plus here in Ireland and it's number two in Ireland at the moment, which is pretty good. It's like shot to
mhm.
number two, like in the top 10. Um, again, I can't remember what show. I think it was like one of the Marvel shows. I think it was like What If or something. Like throughout the entire run of it, didn't even appear in the top 10. So that tells me like fuck all, people are watching that here. Then you got to take into account as well, like how many people are actually like going onto like one of those torrenting sites and just downloading it for free and watching it that way. Like I would say there is millions of them, bro, millions. Maybe not in the US, but like all over this side of the world. Like there's no policing on torrenting at all. Like I know in America, like there's kind of the fear that the FBI are going to kick your door down or whatever, like, and they're going to track you and you're going to get in trouble. But like over here, it's Wild Wild West. Like no one gives a shit. Like I have a hard drive in my house that connects up to my router, and like every fucking TV in my house has like my network like NAS drive, and I just have it full of movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Like, and you know what I mean? Like I can just like, again, we don't have HBO here. Like, so if something comes out that I don't have, I'm just gonna download it for free. Like,
Mhm.
just use a VPN. That's valid. But again, then you're kind of stuck to watching stuff on like a laptop or something, or a PC, which I don't like to do either. Or like, I don't like plugging a laptop into my TV. Like I have like streaming services, or like I'll use like my NAS drive, which connects up to the TV, and I watch it through the TV through wireless or whatever. Like I don't sit down on my laptop to watch stuff. I know a lot of people do that, or like they might sit and watch something on like an iPad or something. So yeah, the VPN trick would work there, but I think a lot of people just won't pay for a service and they'll just download. Like that's the world we live in, especially over this side of the world. Um. So yeah, like I don't know. Like again, HBO is not available in my country. Like, does that mean I'm not going to watch like House of the Dragon and The Last of Us 2 when it comes out? Like, of course not. Of course I'm going to watch those shows. So I'll
Right,
get
you're
them.
gonna
I'll get them one way
you're
or another, bro.
yeah, you'll do your best to keep up to date.
Oh, like I wouldn't be like, oh, well, that's not available in my country, I can't watch it. Oh well, like absolutely not. Like I'm gonna definitely watch it. I'll get my hands on it one way or the other. So
Exactly.
yeah, it is what it is. Do you want to talk about Invincible?
Yeah, definitely.
So I gotta say, I'm just gonna put it out there, and this is nothing to do with Invincible, but I tried 3 times to watch episode 6, right? And 2 times I fell asleep. Now I possibly was watching it at the wrong time. I decided to throw it on like when I finished work, did a full shift, sat on the couch, kind of reclined my couch, and twice I tried to do this after work and fell asleep. And I was like, the second time I was like, for fuck's sake, again. I was like, oh my god, fell asleep again. I can't believe it. So one of the days, um, I think it was like only like 2 days ago, I watched it in work when I was on my lunch break, and episode 6, like by the time I actually got around to watching it, like it took 3 goes, but I thought it was good. Um, but episode 7 was great. Episode 7 was really, really good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Loved all the multiverse stuff, all the different marks coming in and fucking shit up and all. Like I thought it was really, really cool. And getting to see the backstory of how Anstrom, is that his name? How he survived.
Yeah, Angstrom Levy.
Yeah, how he actually survived the attack was just crazy. Like his brain was like soup, like his whole head, but he just gets dragged through the portal and gets rebuilt and stuff. I thought that was crazy. But yeah, really, really good. Um, I saw somebody like I've seen so many people in like the Den of Nerds like streams and stuff when he talks about it, saying how shit the animation is and stuff like that, and it doesn't bother me. But I got to admit, again, just kind of talking about Invincible and stuff like that, like phones are always listening. I start seeing like algorithm stuff like of like Invincible popping up on my feeds on like TikTok and Twitter and stuff like that. And I've been seeing some clips from back in season one, and like it's actually quite alarming at the difference in the animation between season one and season three. Like like I can understand why people are talking about it a lot because like it is quite alarming the difference in the animation. Like if you go back and rewatch like some of like the big fight scenes in season one, the animation is just completely different. Like a lot of it now in season three is a lot like this like kind of stop motion and just like pictures zooming in and out and stuff like that. And I know they kind of poke fun at it in the show, but like it's got me kind of thinking like, why are they doing that? Like, are they like trying to save money? Are they like working on so much of the show that they've had to kind of strip back on some of the animation to be able to stretch the show out to make it last longer or something? I don't know what's going on. I would presume that Amazon are going to throw as much money at this show as it needs because it's such a popular show. I would hope so anyway. Like, and you know, the voice cast has always been so strong. Like, I don't see them like rejecting funds from these guys to get the show made, but maybe they just can't make it quick enough or something. I don't know what's going on, but it's like it's very noticeable, bro. It's very noticeable how different the animation is in season three compared to season one.
Oh yeah. Considering that like with I mean, when you think about it, the show is probably trying to push out as quickly as possible in terms of animations, and it really starts to show the cracks when you don't take enough time to like update and like edit and polish it and whatnot. um so it's probably a time thing. I think that as much money as you throw on it, like if you need to make a quota like for the time frame, then you're just gonna have to do with what you got, and then like essentially just here you go, here's the thing, hope you like it. And it's like, not really. Like it's not as polished as it was before, but then you know it kind of makes it, like, in my opinion, it kind of makes up for the fact that it's doing a really good job with its story. Like I'm really enjoying the
Right.
idea behind like all the different like relationships that are going on. The fact that it's like some of the superheroes are just tired of this. They're like, this sucks. Like I almost died. You almost died. Let's not do this anymore. And you see that like with Rexplode and Shrinking Ray, and how Ray is like, I'm kind of over this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather try to survive and be normal and just, do my best to like, have a normal life from this point on. And Rex is like, great, I'll help you out. As long as we continue like this relationship and whatnot. And he's trying to keep her from changing up her ways, as they're going forward. And it's kind of tough when you see like so many things that are going on, and you really should just get into the fray. Like it's that whole responsibility of being a superhero. Like even Oliver like knew, like, I have the ability to stop or help people.
Yeah.
Like it's what I do, it's what I want to do. But you could see the way that Oliver is acting as well, that he is very much in the Viltrumite kind of mindset of like, you need to kill it to stop it.
Yeah.
And and Mark almost gives in. It's like at some point in the latest episode, which is really cool. Like I think that was a really cool moment. um and unfortunately he still didn't get the justice that he deserved, even if it was wrong. But it also kind of pulls back himself and prevents him from being that bloodthirsty warrior that Viltrumites are.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but Ultimately, animation, I kind of overlooked it. I didn't really even notice it. I just really enjoyed the show so far. Like I'm having a good time.
I am too, and like you're dead right with the storylines are fantastic, and I think it's just again I've never read the comics, but from my understanding, it's very close to the comics and stuff like that, which is obviously what people want. Um, you know what I mean? Like why mess with the source material when it works so well?
Hmm.
I just I don't know what it is, but it's just like ever since they made the joke about the animation, I think last season I just every time I see them doing those cheap parlor tricks with the animation, I kind of just say to myself, "Oh, here we go again." It's like, "Oh yeah, here's another like pan out where there's no one's moving and it's just a picture. I'm just looking at a picture right now." You know, it's just like it just feels cheap. But again, yeah, it's not taking me completely out of it. I just kind of am noticing it now. It's not
Right.
pissing me off, but I just notice it, and that is just a little annoying, but it's not gonna stop me from watching the show or anything, you know?
Yeah.
It's still a great show. I just wish that they could go back to animation-wise season 1 and stuff, you know, because
Well,
it was so fucking cool.
well, and it's kind of funny because like, you know how much I praise One Piece.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, the animation has only gone better.
Yeah. Well, like, again, that's I would understand it more if the way season 3 looks now, if that's how season 1 was. And then it got better and turned into season 1 animation as time went on,
Mhm.
because that's the way it naturally goes, you know, the shows grow in popularity, they get more staff, they get more money, they get, you know, everything, all the resources and everything's thrown at them, and then the show just naturally gets better and better. Now, sometimes the writing doesn't get better, but, you know, again, with comic book stuff, it's a little easier to do that because they just have the source material there, whereas, you know, if you're writing network television, usually they'll do, you know, they'll have like the best writers in for season 1 and 2. Then when the show starts kind of just going off on its own, it kind of turns into a bit of an autopilot thing, and then they just whip out the good writers and get them onto the next big thing. But like a show like this should be easy enough to write because they just have all the comics there. It's like, okay, now we're doing this story, now we're doing that one, like you know. So I
Right.
don't know.
So, one explanation, and I see like every week anime cheap like that. Do a hard disagree on that. The only reason why any sort of anime shows like at some point during their lifetime, sorry, that they like show any sort of like cracks is when we know that the animators and designers are tired. They
Yeah,
are fucking tired. They literally had I think it was Mappa Studios. I can't remember if it was Mappa, but like in Jujutsu Kaisen, there's a few episodes that played originally with like really odd animation looks. Like it didn't look as polished as it usually is.
yeah,
And the reason was because they were literally going, "We are tired. We are about to fucking leave. We are going to leave the studios if we don't get a break."
yeah,
Like and so they got screwed. So like they were essentially trying to crunch with the other animators that were kind of there and kind of spit out what they could. Um, but for the most part,
This is happening right now in Hollywood as well, though.
yeah.
This isn't just anime. Like this, we could see it in
Oh yeah.
the MCU. Like the animators and the VFX artists and stuff are being spread so thin and working so long that shit's just falling through the cracks. Like, you know, like we look at just how bad the CGI was in She-Hulk, how bad it was in Love and Thunder, all this sort of stuff. Like it's like you can definitely see that these guys are just being spread so thin. It makes zero sense that a movie like the first Transformers movie that came out in 2007 looks 50 times better than any movie that's released today. Like those Transformers looked real. Like it was crazy how good they looked. And that movie came out, released in 2007, probably filmed in 2005, and like took 2 years to just do all the effects and everything. Like, how do we live in a world where we're in 2025 and the CGI feels like we're in 1996? Like, I just don't understand it. Like, it's crazy. Like, AI should be helping with all this stuff as well. Like, you know, I know everybody fears AI and all this stuff, but it should make stuff like this a lot easier. They should be able to be implementing AI to help all these animators and stuff, like get stuff looking more realistic. Like, and I think we will get there, but we're in a really, really weird spot in filmmaking right now where, and to go back to Daredevil, like look at that opening scene in Daredevil. Like just before when I was coming up the stairs here to start the podcast, my girlfriend was like, "I'm going to rewatch episode 1, the start of it, because I want to." She literally said, "I want to have a laugh at how bad the opener was, like because it was just so fucking bad." But like again, how are we here? Like it's like you go back to season 1 of Daredevil, which came out in 2015, shot and filmed and created probably in 2014, 2013, whenever. Like, how is that looking better than the brand new show? It's wild, bro. It's wild.
Because they're not putting their best in the right spot, and then they're
Yeah.
stretching the best too thin, like you said.
Yeah.
It very much shows, like you see that I would say the peak in Disney CGI was Davy Jones.
That was so
Um,
sick. Again, what was that? 2006?
yeah, I think so. Like two years
You're
before the
proving my
Incredible
point.
Hulk.
You're
Yeah,
proving my point.
2 years before the Incredible Hulk with Marvel Studios, and I would say the Incredible Hulk, his design when they showed him, even during the daylight, looked really good. The
Yeah.
design, like you could see the ripples of his muscles. You could see the bullets hitting
Yeah,
his
yeah.
body and
Yeah, it was
creating
dope.
ripple effects.
It
Like
was dope.
it's so cool. Like, and then you see, the animations of them like fighting each other, hitting each other with Hulk hitting Abomination with the police car, taking the chains and like trying to swing it around like it's a giant like whip.
Yeah.
It just all that kind of stuff is cool to me. And when you do it in the dark, I'm okay with that. Blue Beetle, I would say, did a really good job.
Yeah.
They shot a lot of that shit in the dark because I knew it was going to look like shit if they do it in the day.
Well, I think a lot of the dark stuff looks good. Like it looks better because
Yeah.
that's meant
It,
to be the background. Like like
it
all this stuff is meant to happen
right.
in at night. Like so
It
that works
hides
for me.
some of the Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. It hides some of the blur that occurs when you're trying to do fast-paced CGI, because fast-paced CGI is a bitch to do. If you watch the Eric Bana Hulk,
Yeah.
that, like, his running animation, like when he's running from the military, like when they're trying to chase him like with the helicopter and whatnot, that looks really bad to me. It looked like he had tiny legs and was just like scurrying. He looked like Mr. Krabs for a minute.
Yeah.
Like the little legs going like
Yeah. And that should not happen. That should not happen. So yeah,
No.
I don't know, man. We're in a really weird spot. I don't know how they fix it. Like again, do they just hire more people, start paying overtime? Like I just don't know what it is. Like I think they were working these people. Like I think I heard something that these animators were doing like 18-hour days, 6 days a week. Like it's outrageous. It's outrageous. Like
Bananas.
it really is. Like as someone who sits in front of a computer for a living, like I would do 7.5 hours a day. Like what I mean. And I think that's too much. So like I can only imagine what these poor people were going through.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure they were paid great for it and everything, but at the same time, you have to have a life as well. Like look, working 18 hours a day, like literally probably commuting home then just to sleep for a couple of hours and then coming straight back to the office, like that is just insane. Or hopefully working from home if they could, but sitting in front of a computer for 18 hours a day is just insane. Really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
crazy.
it is crazy. And like you think about all the things that are going on here, it is reflective, like in both Japan and the US. Japan especially, like Oda, the creator of One Piece, like that dude has been working himself to the bone. Like
Weren't you saying he
he
had to get like surgery on his eyes or something? Like
had to get surgeries on
artistic
his
vision in his
eyes.
sight. Yeah,
Yep.
scary,
And
scary.
from what we know, or from what's been said, he only gets like 3 hours of sleep every day, because he gets up and immediately starts working on the next like chapter. He just
He's like Batman.
he's not going to stop until it's over, man. And then once it's over, he's probably going to have a good rest, hopefully, unless he's like, I got to keep going because this is all I know. It's like he's coming out of prison and he's like, shit,
Yeah.
society has changed.
What? Yeah, imagine there's flying cars now. Have you ever seen that Batman story? There's like a Batman lore that he is able to. He trains himself to get a full night's sleep on 3 hours sleep. It's like a monk technique or something that he learns, and that's like it kind of explains how he can be Bruce Wayne and be Batman at the same time. Because obviously, if he's out all night fighting crime, he gets home, sleeps for 3 hours, and then he's at the Wayne the Wayne Enterprises board meetings. And it's like, obviously humans can't do that, but there are people out there that do it. It's crazy. Nothing but
Yeah,
respect,
it's
but it's scary at the same time. Like I stream late at night. It's 11 p.m. for me right now. If I'm gaming on Twitch, I could be up till 2 a.m. and then I'm in work at 9, so I'm getting 6.5, 7 hours at most. And that's kind of been my life for the last few years. And I know I need to sleep more, but I just don't. And that's its own thing. But I know people that only sleep like 2, 3 hours a night, like, and it's insane. It's insane. Like,
yep.
like sleeping is so important, but some people can't do it. Some people just choose not to. Some people are so busy that they can't, and it's a scary thing, and I'm sure it catches up on you. So yeah, like 3 hours a night or 4 hours a night or whatever it is, or even just 6 hours away from work is not enough. Like, how do you spend any time with your family or your partner or do anything, stay healthy, do some exercise? Like, no, you can't do anything. Like, you're literally just working and sleeping, working and sleeping.
Mm.
Yeah. Bananas, bro. Crazy.
But anyways, I think we kind of rolled off a little bit on Invincible. Let's jump back into it. So what did you think of the
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like we get off on
Yeah, I
tangents all the
know. I
time.
know.
So we didn't really talk too much about like what happened in episode 7, because that seemed to have been the big kind of turning point of the show, even though we're literally at the end of it tomorrow.
Is
It just
tomorrow the season finale?
Yeah, tomorrow I think is the season finale.
Fuck, I'm sad about that. That's
Did
I'm loving it. It's great to have it on our screens once a week, but yeah, I think it's gonna. I don't know how it's gonna end. I've been kind of sitting waiting for Omni-Man to come back into it. I presume he's going to be probably heavily involved in the finale.
I don't know,
Um,
man, because from what I understand, Conquest is not like just some random Viltrumite. He's like utterly seasoned.
mm,
He's like gonna like excuse my language. He's gonna fuck up Mark.
yeah,
Like he's bad. He's a bad motherfucker.
yeah, yeah. It's a great end to the episode where he just flies down. He's got like a metal arm and everything, and he's like, "I'm
I
here.
am
I'm
Conquest.
here. Yeah, I'm here to fuck you up." Basically, he looks old though, so I don't know. I think, do the Viltrumites get stronger with age? Like, as they get older, they get stronger. Is that how it works? Or
I thought they just get stronger with with experience.
yeah, I don't know. I can't remember now if it is
Because
an age
well,
thing or not.
like
'Cause this dude looks very seasoned. Like, I'm looking at a picture of him here, and he's like scars all over his face. Like, one of his eyes is kind of blind, and obviously he's missing a half an arm. And
well,
yeah,
if you remember from the perspective of Cecil, he was
yeah,
saying that their timeline Mark, like their
yeah,
universe Mark, is actually stronger than a good chunk of all of those other Marks. Like
yeah,
maybe even stronger than all of them, because they've essentially been training him. It's not like they've been just going out and fighting people and not getting like a good challenge out. Like they were literally pushing Mark to the limit every single time, getting him
yeah,
stronger and stronger. It's just when there's so many of them, you can get easily overpowered. So like that was the whole situation of like, there's no way that Mark can do this alone. Like we have to add our bots. We have to add like the countermeasures that we found out about Viltrumites, and we have to essentially get this shit figured out. And I love the like near the very end of it when Cecil's still like, "Hey man, I want to work with you. Like I like I'm not trying to keep you locked down anymore." He's like, "I understand, but I still can't trust you. I still like I appreciate you lending out an ear." Because he's like, "If you need to talk about things, I'm here." And I'm like, "That's really cool." Like a cool change of heart from Cecil, because like he's essentially kind of reached a point of like, oh shit, maybe Mark's not so bad.
yeah. Well, like, I think, especially after seeing all the multiverse versions of him and actually seeing evil Marks out there, you're kind of like, oh shit, okay, we got one of the good ones, because
Yeah,
he's still, even after all that, he's still doing good.
right.
Dan asked a question in the chat there: if you could choose one character still alive to die by Conquest hand, I like the way he said hand and not hands because he only has one hand. I like that. Who would you choose? I think if Debbie died, I think that would have real kind of driving powers for Mark's character to develop. It's kind of like an Aunt May situation with Peter, like, kill the only person that he has left. And you're gonna really see him kind of it really drive him to really, like, step up in every sense of the word. That'd be my pick. I love Debbie, but I think for her to die, I think it would kick him in the arse. And I don't know. Again, what I like about that is it could go either way. We've seen plenty of evil Marks, and a lot of the Marks talking in episode 7 are saying that they killed their mother themselves. So that's fucked up as well. So how would a Mark, if she got killed on him, how would he react and develop from that? I think would be interesting. What about you?
Well, I just want to tack onto that. Like, I think it's really interesting though how I think two of the Marks are like, "Hey, man, I really missed my mom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that.
I'm willing to take this one back because that
Yeah.
was like my incentive. Like, I just want to take this world's Debbie and go back." And I was like, "Damn, dude."
Well, like, I think that's very real. Like those emotions are there. Like, and I like the way Mark says, like, you guys are all Marks. There's no way all of you don't miss Debbie. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
of course you do. So yeah, I think Debbie would be a really good one. I don't think Eve is going anywhere just yet, but or maybe at all. I don't know. And I think Oliver would be maybe my second choice. Like, I think again it would kind of it would really put a fire under Mark to react one way or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'd be kind of my two.
Yeah, definitely. I think Oliver would be a good choice because it would definitely change the dynamic of the show, considering that like he now has a brother and he just like he essentially will lose his brother in that sense if he dies. It in terms of like a character dying, I kind of want a villain to die. Like I would love for one of the villains that have been sitting on the side to just come back and be like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna fight this asshole," and then he just fucking
turn to mist, just popped like a balloon. I think, like if Oliver died or Debbie died, I think that'd be a really cool way to get Omni-Man back into the show as well. Because like I think one of the last lines that we've heard from this season as well was like, "I think I miss my wife." Now, again, I kind of laughed at that, but I was like, "Which wife are you talking about here, buddy?" But I think he means Debbie. I think he means Debbie. But I think, like, imagine if he heard that Debbie was killed or that Oliver was killed, by Conquest. Like, that'd be just such a great way to get him back onto Earth and have him maybe do like a kind of turn to the good side to help Mark to take down these Viltrumites, like the rest of the Viltrumites. And that'd be fucking sick.
Well, I agree with you, like more so on the Debbie part, because then it's just the boys in the sense, and now like basically Nolan's gonna be like, "Oh shit, now I got to raise them both again." Like I have to do it on my own. Like how devastating would that be? Like, because essentially Debbie's a single mom right now, and then Nolan would be a single dad, but like he's not really in that mindset of taking care of kids.
Yeah.
And so like it would be much more of a struggle in his sense, considering that like not only does he have to take care of them, but like they're also part Viltrumites. So it's like, what do I do? Like, yeah. So
I love the idea of them living forever as well. I really liked the Immortal episode. I don't know if we talked about that one. Where Mark goes to the future and he sees like Immortal's kind of lost his mind. He's been around for like 1,000 years and stuff, and obviously Mark is still alive, but like everyone that they knew is dead and gone. Like I think it'd be cool to do like a time jump and see like more of that. But again, you're gonna obviously lose a lot of the characters that you love from the show if they do something like that. But I do love that kind of storytelling at the same time. So like I don't know if they do like a half a season where they jump forward to the future and you see kind of where it all lands. And I presume that Mark has a few kids of his own with Eve, and like more Viltrumites form, and they're maybe they're just there's a new kind of race of them, and they're good guys instead, or something, instead of conquerors or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I like all that stuff.
Well, from what it sounds like, there's only a very few amount of Viltrumites left. There's not really like a huge empire anymore.
Nolan says that in one of the episodes, doesn't he? He's like, they're not going to send back up because the numbers are so short or are so
Yeah.
little. Yeah, which is cool. And I think that kind of like makes me want to see Debbie die more now, because it's like that's going to really drive Nolan, I think, to try and like maybe wipe out the rest of his brothers, like, and
Yeah.
then they could start up the next kind of evolution, or like the next evolution of the race or whatever.
Yeah.
Dan,
Daniel, why do
Dan
you
says
say
here,
like sadly though?
I don't mind Oliver. I think he's an okay character. Like, he doesn't like annoy me or anything. From the way Dan's talking here, I'm gathering that he's read the comics and he knows maybe more than what we know. Um, I haven't read any of the comic books before. I'm gonna let the show finish, and then I think I might go back and buy a lot of the books. Then that way, I'm kind of enjoying it, as I always say. I'm enjoying it as a kind of newbie watcher, and just kind of seeing where the show goes. And I'm thankfully not getting spoiled on social media by it or anything like that, which is great. Hopefully, it stays that way. Um, but yeah, like again, I presume the storylines are all in stone at this stage. Is it finished? Invincible's done, right?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I'll stay quiet. He says, "Yep, yep." You can answer me this question, Dan, and then say no more, maybe. But is this story finished? Like, is Invincible finished? Like, is it like a 5-book set and that's it? It's done, like 5 graphic novels or something, or like I don't even really know. I'm purposely staying away from it because I don't want any spoilers. But yeah, I'd be curious because like I've seen a lot of people have like the big, like, have you seen the big Invincible like graphic novels? There's like maybe
Mhm.
4 or 5 of them. I don't know if that's just the entire story start to finish. Yeah, yes, he says yes, it's done.
Cool.
So yeah, like that's cool. I like that because like I presume maybe one of these books is one book is a season or something like that. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but it's good that there's a start and an end because as we know with stuff like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, if there isn't an end and the creators of a TV show have to go and try and do something themselves, it doesn't usually work out. So it's nice that the goalposts are set. It's kind of, you can stay in your lane and get it done properly, which is
Uh,
good. That's a sigh of relief for me.
right. Honestly, though, like I would much prefer a show ending on a high and knowing that it's unfinished for the time being, if forever, than for it to like not stick the landing and end poorly.
Hmm.
It's so like one of them being an anime. Like there was an anime called High School of the Dead. Very much like a zombie kind of show. It's got like pretty good. It's got pretty good graphics. Had a pretty decent story. Had based like the usual like hot chicks in it, and the guns firing, and then you have the crazy guy who knows all about guns. You have the guy who's like used to be in a relationship with one of the characters and whatnot, and like all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
The creator of that died after season one finished, and or like during the time, and so they never finished it. But a lot of people still refer to that first season
Yeah,
as like a really good show.
yeah,
So like I would much rather it end on a high note and always be and forever be unfinished than it to end not stick the landing and be known as like one of the worst endings in
yeah.
history.
Like Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's sad, man. It's sad. There's been so many great shows out there that, like, for one reason or another, just get cancelled. Midway, or Firefly's a really famous example. Like, that's one that just kind of became a cult classic and just never ended. Like, it just got cancelled, and I fear that maybe the Spider-Verse movies might have a similar fate. I kind of get the feeling that we may never see the third movie. Like, I think even to this day they haven't done anything with it. Like, they haven't like done any like now whether they're working on animations and stuff like that in the background, that's one thing. But as far as I know, like, no one's got in the booth and recorded any vocals for it or anything. Like, so that's scary, man. Like, the movie was meant to be out by now.
Yeah.
So something's gone wrong there behind the scenes, and I don't know. We don't know about it, but
I think it had to do with the main voice actor, right? What's his name? Shamik?
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, like him kind of getting all pervy and stuff. But I don't think think that happened after the fact. I don't think that's the reason why it's happening. I think they were still delayed before all that happened. So
Hmm.
he's a bit of a strange character. He's like, there's interview, you can watch interviews with him just blatantly coming on to Haley Steinfeld and stuff like that. And I think the girl who was in Spider-Man Homecoming, I think he put up like a real creepy tweet about her or something like that with a picture of her, and she's like, I'm engaged to somebody, can you take this down? And he was like, put out this big video about it and stuff like that and made it a thing, and like just being really creepy and weird online. It's not a good look. But at the same time, I don't think that cancels a movie of like, a really crazy successful franchise. Whatever. Like, the dude like trying to shoot a shot with Haley. Like, I can't imagine he's the only person who's done that in Hollywood. Like to me, like she's a beautiful woman. I'm sure it happens to her every day of the week. Like, but it is cringy to watch. But at the same time, it's not like fire you from your job worthy shit. Like, it's like I don't think it's that level. So I think there's different issues happening. There's different problems, but I hope we get to see an end to it. Like, because it's like I see this running meme like where it's like, throw on the next episode. It's like they never made another one again. It just got cancelled, and they're like, "What do you mean?" Like at the very end of the second movie, and it's like, yeah, they can't just end it there. Like they have to finish the trilogy. Like, so I pray that they do. I pray that they do. Are you watching anything else at the moment?
Yeah, watching quite a bit of stuff in the anime scene, just doing some solo leveling. I started up Fire Force Season 1 because I know that Fire Force Season 3 is going to be coming up, so I need to catch up on that. But solo leveling's doing a really good job. It's calmed down a bit from a lot of the fights that they had currently, but I highly recommend the show. I would very much recommend it to you. It's still fairly new, so it's an easy jump in. So I would
Yeah.
highly recommend it. I think you'd like it. Very bloody at times. A lot of combat scenes. Has a pretty good standpoint on like what the main character's mission is, and then afterwards, like we're kind of past the point of him completing that mission, and so now there's a new mission going on. So now he has other things to worry about.
Is it
Fire
is it
Force.
is it dubbed?
I probably. I've me. I only watch sub, so
I
like I would
know,
assume that.
you know me. I'm only a dub man, so uh, I don't know. I'll do some research, but yeah, look, you've spiked my interest a little bit. I do want to check it out and see if it's something that I will watch.
It's really
Just
good. The premise. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, sorry, just Dan has a couple of comments here, just talking about Invincible. Still, just saying that issue 61 starts with tomorrow's episode, and I presume that he's talking about like that Invincible will end at issue 144.
Right.
So if I know we have a fourth season confirmed for Invincible, so if that's like issue 61, I presume there's going to be quite a lot left story wise to tell. So that's interesting. I presume maybe it'll go past season 4. I kind of hope it does. I don't want it to end. I just want the animation to get a bit better. um,
So if you think in that sense, there's 3 seasons so far right now. If there is a 4th season coming up, then that means that that'll be another. So it looks like about 22 episodes
20
or 22
yeah,
issues per
issues. Yeah,
per season. So
yeah,
then another 3 seasons. So we'll end at season 6.
yeah, yeah. That sounds about right. I was just looking on IMDb there as well, and episode 7 has a 9.8 out of 10.
It's
An almost
fantastic.
perfect score. Like, and it's fully deserved. Then, like, that has like 18,000 votes. It's legit, man. Legit.
Hmm.
Absolutely fantastic. Love it. And
Yeah.
sorry, what you were going to say something else there? What else are you watching?
Oh, well, just given the premise for solo leveling, just so you have
Yeah,
a better idea. So basically, the main character is the lowest rank of hunters in the world, and you can only be that. You can literally only be that rank. You can never get better.
yeah,
So he's entirely weak. He can't even do E rank dungeons because things just beat the shit out of him. So he's literally like a nobody. Goes into what's known as a double dungeon, and he eventually, like in the double dungeon, they go to the second dungeon. They find that there's like a puzzle, and he essentially solves the puzzle after everyone leaves him. Um, and he's on the brink of death, and then once he's about to die, he kind of comes back somehow, and for some reason he's able to see that there's like routines in him, routines and stuff for him, and that he's able to level up. and he's like, I don't know if anybody else can do this. I don't know what this means, but this is cool. And eventually it changes him. Like you'll actually see his character change over time. Like he stops looking like his usual self, and he'll get taller, he'll gain muscle, like he'll his hair will change. Basically like gaining attractiveness and whatnot because he's like gotten so strong, and it's really cool. Like and there's a lot of like obstacles for him. It's not like he's going to be like super overpowered, but there are moments where it's like, okay, it's kind of getting to that point, but then he kind of keeps hitting obstacles here and there. So it's really well done. A lot of people praise the show so far, and everybody really likes the intro to the second season, which I agree that intro is like really good. But yeah,
How many
highly,
episodes are there?
19, 20 now.
Oh, well, okay. So it's very new still.
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And Fire Force, I just started the first episode. All I know is that it's this kid who's a third generation pyromancer who can generate fire from his feet. So he's able to like propel himself forward, and apparently like the older generations can't produce fire without like some sort of igniter.
Right.
So he's got an upper hand, and he joins the Fire Force because there's like these fire demons that occur every now and then. So basically, people spontaneously combust, turn into like a fire demon, and then cause like start fires in like warehouses and buildings and stuff like that. That's the gist of what I know. So like I can't really sing praise of it as of now, but people are excited to see the next season pop up. So it must be good.
Hell yeah. That's great. Have you watched any more Supernatural?
Yes. Let me see what episode I'm on. I'm almost done with the second season. I'm on episode 20 of
Nice.
season 2. Um, I really liked the episode, I think it was like 18 or something. Episode 18, which was Hollywood Babylon. That one was ridiculous. That one was just utter nonsense, but I loved it because I had so many references.
Yeah.
And I loved how everything they did essentially like reached into like what the movie was going to eventually be. He's like the director or the screenwriter like sees that they're using a phone to like see the ghosts.
Yeah.
He's like right there, and he shoots him, and then he
Yeah.
puts it into the movie.
Yeah. 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 It's so good. Those guys, I believe, become like quite a if they're like the amateur ghost chasers kind of guys. Are they? Yeah, yeah. So like those guys become a bit of a cult classic in the show. So like they start up their own kind of like reality TV show called like Ghost Facers, and there's a cool intro and everything to it. And like they were kind of in the fandom, they kind of became kind of like fan favorites. And they even had, and I never saw it. I've been trying to locate it, but there's like they had like a web series, which was like a spin-off of Supernatural of them just being their characters from the show, and it was
Mhm.
like a web thing that was obviously probably only available in America, so I couldn't get my hands on it, but yeah, I think it was just called Ghost Chasers or something like that. But yeah, it's really cool, man. They come back, and they're really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Like there's so many great little like gimmicky episodes like that you're gonna think like on paper sound absolutely ridiculous, but you're just gonna have a smile on your face the whole way through because they're just so fun, and that's what makes the show so great. Like it's really deadly serious at times, but then in other times it's just a complete piss take, and it's fucking fantastic. And like I see so many memes of like people like putting up like videos of Dean and just saying like there will never be another character like Dean Winchester in pop culture, because like he is like the biggest badass of all time, but at the same time he's the goofiest bastard ever, like as well. Like so it's just there's never been a character like him, and there never will be again. And again, I like tip of the iceberg is where you are right now as to how crazy Dean gets. Like power wise, everything. Like it's just crazy. Like the guy, the two of them, and I can't wait to talk to you when you're at the end, so that we can actually. Because I'm afraid to say anything here in case I ruin anything like going forward for you. But like it's just crazy how much they level up the two brothers and how
Mhm.
crazy everything gets. It's just insane. Yeah, I don't even think it's much of a spoiler, but they did like fun fact. I think Jensen, who plays Dean, I think Scooby Doo is one of his favorite cartoons ever, and they actually did a crossover episode where they were in an episode of Scooby Doo, and it's
That's really
animated.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really
So,
cool.
and they got like, I think some of like the actual, like it was an official like Scooby Doo cast and all that sort of stuff. Like it was officially done. Um, but yeah, there's great videos you can watch online from behind the scenes stuff from shooting that episode, and it was just barrel of laughs, like so funny. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so far I'm really enjoying it. I do like the bits and pieces here that we see with Sam and how, I still like currently I still don't know why he's such an important person to the yellow-eyed demon. But it's apparent that from what I can tell, like it seems like because he has powers, that it's something to do with that. Like maybe once he's old enough, they want to basically fully possess him so that they have additional strength or something. I'm just kind of shooting in the wind.
yeah,
Um, but it just seems really cool how there were like 2 episodes leading up to the point where it showed that like he actually got possessed for a while. Um,
yeah,
and I really liked that dynamic because we see it in the previous episode that he was starting to get drunk and be a little bit belligerent here and there, and it was like, oh, maybe he just got shit faced and was like,
yeah,
but then we see that essentially like he was possessed this whole time and that he wasn't himself, and that like um I think he like that was the same episode where we saw Gordon again, right? Like where
yeah.
and then like going to Bobby, and I think we talked about, I don't know if we talked about this
We did, we
the
did, we
last
did.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still talk about it because it's like such a good episode.
bro, it's again tip of the iceberg. Like you have no
Yeah,
idea what's coming. It's insane. I'm so jealous that you're watching this for the first time. I have this up. This is the box. I actually got this box set, and my missus bought it for me for Christmas. It's like the entire thing on Blu-ray.
that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, it's sick. It's sick. I think they are going to revive the show, so there will be a time where that won't be the definitive collection. I think there will be more added onto it, but for now, that's every episode of Supernatural,
Gotcha.
which is sick because I want to rewatch it as well. Because I believe some of the streaming services, I don't know if it's Amazon. I can't remember if it's Amazon or Netflix. Are you watching it on Netflix or where are you watching it?
I'm watching it on Amazon. It's not
Amazon, yeah.
free, so I've just been buying them.
Oh
um
shit. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
We have it for free on Amazon here, which is wild.
it it's weird, but that's okay. Like if I ever want to rewatch it, then I know like it's there.
You
Amazon's
have
not
it.
going anywhere. Yeah.
True. 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 I have like again, I'm very deep in the supernatural algorithm on TikTok and stuff like that. But some people have been like breaking down the show, and apparently the streaming services don't have the original rights to a lot of the music. Um,
Yeah, like Netflix. That's why I moved over
yeah,
to Prime Video, because
exactly.
like in one of the scenes, like I hear Hell's Bells, and then I went back into like the Netflix, and they're like it's just royalty free music,
Yeah,
which is
that's crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, so like again, that's part of the reason why I want a physical copy of it because it'll have all of the original licensed music on it, whereas the streaming services can't get the rights to the music, so they're chopping and changing it. And yeah, there's scenes that I've seen like comparisons from like the streaming version to the original version, and the original music just it takes it away, like it takes away from it, which is wild. Dan is breaking my heart here, saying in the chat, "Did you know that Blu-rays start degrading after 15 years? DVDs are like 80 to 100 years. That's crazy."
That's why
Um,
digital is turning into the kind of the kingpin here.
yeah, and I agree, but at the same time, and I've seen it happen where show like there's a show that I love and it's on Netflix and I'm like, brilliant, this is here, it's great. And then they take it off it disappears. And then you're like, fuck, I've lost it. And now it's like, where can I watch it now? Like Community is a great example. I love that show so much. They've put it up on Netflix and they've taken it down twice. And each time that they take it down, I go and illegally download it so that I have it on my NAS drive. And
Right.
then when they put it back on Netflix, I'm like, oh, great, I can free up some space. I'll get rid of it again. And then they take it away again. So I'm like, fuck. So, and then as well, like there's a whole kind of different side of it as well, like where they start, changing stuff within, like let's say they release a version of the show. Like there was an episode of Community, for example, where the Asian character, Chang is his name, where they
Mhm.
basically he does like they're doing like a Dungeons and Dragons episode, and his character is like a dark elf, and he like paints his entire body black, like jet black, and he has like elf ears. and they removed that episode because it was offensive. They said it was blackface. He's a small Asian man, like playing a dark elf, and they removed the episode because of it. And like,
That's that's
it's
weird.
so stupid, bro. It wasn't blackface, like as in like offensive blackface. It was actual tar, like jet black. Like, he
So
wasn't trying to be offensive towards black people. It was just he was being an elf, like, and it's the greatest episode of the show, in my opinion. And they took it off streaming services. So like that's another reason why if you have physical media, at least they can never take it away from you.
right.
So I do love digital stuff. It's great having it all there. I'm 100% in. I pay for that. I pay for Netflix. I pay for Amazon. I pay for Disney. I pay for Apple. Like, I pay for Paramount. I pay for lots of these services. But at the same time, when they start like changing stuff, I think they tried to do something on Disney, and I don't know how they got caught doing this, but I think they tried to change something. I can't remember what the exact example was, but didn't they do? We spoke about it on the podcast before. They tried to put up like an edited version of like a TV show, and then people realized that they'd done it, and everyone flipped out and they changed it back. Do
Yeah.
you remember what that
Oh
was?
man, I can't remember, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Like,
Was it like a Moon Knight episode, or it was like an episode of something, like, or it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier maybe, and they put up an episode where like they had edited all the blood out of the episode or something like that. They'd like made it less gory or something, and then people were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why you change it?" And then they kind of reverted it back. But that was a real scary time because it's like, oh shit, are they going to start like taking stuff down and putting up like PG amended versions of stuff? Like, are we gonna like lose some of stuff that we originally had? Like that's the kind of scary thing of it. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm rambling here, but basically, I understand, like, the practicality of having everything in streaming is fantastic. I love it. I never want it to go away. But at the same time, you'll see behind me, there's fucking DVDs and Blu-rays and everything all here, and downstairs is full of them as well. I am a physical person as well. I do love to have physical media too. So I sit somewhere in the middle, maybe. But I'll let you know. I haven't even taken the plastic off the Supernatural box set yet. Like, I kind of don't even want to open it. But what I'm going to do, I think, soon enough is maybe when like the shows that we're watching now are all finished, I'm going to go. There's a list you can get of like the top 20 episodes, and like it's like obviously spread throughout the entire series, which is another great thing about the series. If you look at like the top 20 episodes, like maybe the top 5 are within the first 6 seasons, but then you'll see like random episodes from like season 12 and season like 11 and season 7 and season 9. Like there's like sprinkles of just greatness all over the place. So it's not one that you can kind of just like give up on, because there is like greatness all the way through. Now
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, there is some low points, of course. Like
But
there's
that's,
like
I mean,
400 episodes of the show. It's bound to happen, you know what I mean? Like it's a CW show at the end of the day as well. So,
yeah.
It's the bad writing is going to creep in, but there is greatness sprinkled in all the way through, and it's just fantastic.
So I don't remember if you told me if like I could have sworn you said that you loved Arrow.
I love Arrow, yeah.
So
Not past tense, I still do.
Okay. Well, I can't remember what it was that Katie and I were talking about, but like she mentioned like, eventually we're gonna watch Arrow just to show like how bad like some of the CG effects were, and
How dare she?
and I was like, oh, Finto probably not gonna like that. I was like, I think Finto likes this show.
Look, I'll be very honest, right? And this is how much I like Arrow. I know that during season 1 of the show, they actually used real arrows on set. And Stephen Amell said,
What?
yeah, like he was shooting real arrows in season 1.
God.
So he had actually said, guys, we need to do something about this because it's getting a bit dangerous. Like I foresee somebody getting shot. So they actually switched to CGI arrows, I think, in season 2. But for the first season of the show, it was all practical. And Stephen Amell is like a fucking, like, he's a buff bastard, like, and he was doing free running and everything like that. Like, and when the show started, I think he was like 31 years old. So he was still kind of at the height of his physical physique or whatever, like, his physical status or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So like he was doing all the free running and everything like that, like, and he did as much of the stunts in the show as possible. So that just, number one, makes me respect him and the creation of the show. The first 3 seasons of that show are fantastic, like honestly amazing. Yeah, he did American Ninja Warrior. So I read the word American as I was speaking
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I was like, American?
He's Canadian. If he heard that, he'd be pissed right now. But yeah, he did American Ninja Warrior and like ran through it as well. Like he absolutely loved it. Like so yeah, look, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And the show doesn't get bad. Like every CW show, it gets bad. I think CW have a thing like where they keep all the best writers in the CW on the hit show until it kind of hits that autopilot mode, which is around season 4. I don't think they give a fuck about a show after season 4. And the Flash is the exact same. The first 3 seasons of the Flash are some of the best superhero TV out there. They're absolutely incredible. And then the show just falls off a cliff. And it's the same with Arrow. Arrow, like, to be fair, because again, I watched it Arrow from day one. I was watching it like live. First 3 seasons of that show are incredible. Then season 4 was just really bad. Like it was just like it was a drastic drop off. But then they started to kind of recover in season 5 a little bit. Season 6 was pretty good, and then again they started to fall off, and then they just ended it. But like the Flash, I actually stopped watching the Flash. I had to give up. Like that's how bad it got. I had to give up. And Dan says it here as well. Until like season 6 or 7, I think I was gone by season 6. I just couldn't even watch it anymore. It was so bad. But I went back in for the last season because I knew it was ending and I wanted to see, because they brought Stephen Amell back for like one of the episodes as well. So the Green Arrow came back, but he had died. But he came back as like the Spectre, which is like one of the most powerful DC characters ever. He turned into the Spectre, so he's like kind of the Watcher in Marvel. Like he's basically like the Watcher of the universe in DC by the end of the show, which I thought was a nice touch, because like it was him who created, like it was his character who created the entire CW like universe. Like they call it the Arrowverse is the name of it. So I thought it was nice that they kind of gave him that title. But yeah, the shows were not good. And like I watched half of the last season of The Flash, and Jesus Christ, it was just oh my god, man. Whew. It's almost laughable how bad it is, like, you know. But like me as like being like a fucking hardcore Flash and hardcore Green Arrow fan, and like I was obsessed with all those shows when they were new as well. Like I was watching them every fucking Wednesday, every Thursday. Or I think it was like Wednesday and Thursday were the days that they aired here. Like, and I would like be giddy to watch them. Like it was incredible, like, you know. And then when they started doing the crossovers as well, it was legendary, you know. It really was. It was an incredible time to be a TV fan. Like at that time, like watching all those shows live, it was crazy. Kate, welcome back to the stream. Appreciate you. Haven't seen the newest episode yet, but I did like the first 2. Netflix or Daredevil was one of my favorites. Also like the Defenders. I hope they do return. I'm hearing rumors that the Defenders are going to be around. So they have currently started shooting season 2 of Daredevil, and you know, rumors are flying because like the girl who played Jessica Jones has been seen in New York. Now I think she's shooting Dexter at the moment, but she could be in the show as well. Maybe not Danny Rand. I think Danny Rand gets a bit of fucking, like, I don't think he was that bad. The show wasn't that good. But like, I think if you went back and watched that show today, with how bad we've seen some of the MCU projects in like Phase 4 and 5, I think it might be like that Thanos thing. It's like, maybe I treated you too harshly, you know. I think it might be that case. Like it might be that case. I don't think the show, like, I don't really rate him too highly as an actor, but like there was some great people in those shows, like, and his best friend, I can't think of the actor's name. He's a phenomenal actor, and like he was a great character in that show. And like I just like the lore of that show, and getting to see more of the Hand and stuff was really cool too. So like I think it has its moments. But what I would always tell new people who haven't seen the shows is I would say watch seasons 1 and 2 of Daredevil, then watch Jessica Jones season 1. This is how I was telling Sharky to watch it all. And then you can go into the Defenders, because you've met Jessica Jones and you've met or Luke Cage. Then you don't really need to know much more about them than that. But again, if you watch season 1 of Jessica Jones, which is a phenomenal season, then go into the Defenders, you kind of see those 8 episodes, and then you can watch Daredevil season 3 and then watch the new show. I think that's the best way to do it, because you're kind of getting introduced to all the characters, except maybe, you know, you might not know who Danny Rand is by the time Defenders comes around, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose. Like, you know, I don't think you should sit through his show just to watch Defenders. I don't think it's worth it.
Gotcha.
You just kind of get the gist of it. Like, he's just like this ninja guy who's just there. Like, you know, it is what it is.
Which is sad, because like Iron Fist is such a cool character.
Yeah. Dan just brings up, I knew the CW shows were dead when the Flash had a lightsaber fight with lightning. So, yeah. I'm a big like I read a lot of Flash comics, and I know they do kind of wild shit like that in the comics with like lightning rods and all that sort of stuff, and it works in the comics. But again, I didn't actually see the episode itself, but I saw like clips of it online and stuff, and it was just one of those moments where I was like, yeah, thank God I'm not watching the show anymore. This is awful. They brought in a character in that show, I think around season 6 or 7, called Godspeed, and in the comics, he's a great character, and the show did his costume perfectly. It was like a 1-to-1 transition from the comics. I was like, wow. I was like, I actually might start watching the show again, because I was like, made they've made fucking Godspeed perfect. Like it looks exactly like the comics. It's crazy. But I think I watched one episode and I was like, nope, it's still shit. I was like, I'm out again. I just couldn't do it. Oh, it's crazy, bro. Crazy. But if you are sitting down, if you're looking for stuff to watch and you want to watch Arrow, like first 3 seasons, absolutely, and then proceed with caution. But I would say do the same with the Flash.
Yeah, well, I'm also watching Friends right now, so I'm
yeah.
getting through that one.
How are you liking? Are any of the characters growing on you more or anything? Or
I still think Chandler is one of my favorites.
yeah,
Ross is still himself, and it's taken a while for him to even have some sort of like okayness with him.
Where are you now?
Where am I now? They just found out about Chandler and Monica.
Okay. Who's that? Like everyone knows, like Ross knows now too.
Yeah, Ross knows too, and he's not doing well
my
with
sister and my best friend. Yeah.
You knew this whole time?
Yeah.
You knew this whole you kept it from me because you cared. That was a good moment. I like that moment.
I feel sorry for Ross, and it's like the more you watch the show, like Ross goes through those dark times, like, and I feel sorry for him watching it now after seeing everything. But like at the time, yeah, you're like, oh, he's a bit of an annoying, he's a bit of a prick. Like, and I understand why you don't really like him. But I think when you kind of rewatch the show, when it's all said and done, like if you start kind of rewatching it over time, I think you learn to like him more, I think. But yeah, when he has this nervous break, have you seen the one with the sandwich? Like where he's like,
oh yeah, no, like
all that's happened.
Yeah, because the follow up was the episode that I just watched, which was like,
okay,
oh, I'm perfectly fine. I'm like, I'm ready to come back to work, and he's like, with my sister.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, because I do kind of feel sorry for him. Like, obviously, he's been like married and divorced like twice now, and
well, like he should have done like what was it, like 6 weeks or something that they had known each other. Like it was so crazy. Like it wasn't gonna happen.
Insane. I know. But like, and then obviously, again, I don't want to ruin anything on you, but like, his life doesn't get any easier. That's all I'll say to you. Like, it's a classic Ross. Like, I think life stays very complicated for him the whole way through. But
oh yeah, because he doesn't know how to just admit defeat sometimes. So it's like it's really
too smart for his own good. I think a lot of the time.
Too smart and too stubborn. Like like I think at the start of what was it, season 4 or 5? I can't remember. Like all he had to do was just keep agreeing. He read the pages, and then he's like, I most certainly do not agree. It's like, what do you mean, dude? You like this chick? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
Take the L, bro.
Yeah, just say I admit it. I take full blame. Fuck it. Like,
yeah.
And you would be so much happier, but like obviously it's a show, so it's a sitcom, so it has to have conflict.
Yeah, well, that's one of the most famous fucking like pop culture things is like we were on a break, like like that is like one of those things. Like Ross and Rachel on the break, like I'm sure you know about that before even watching the show. Like nearly, like it's referenced so much, like
And they like it's even referenced in the most recent episode that I watched too, like at the very end, like the post credits, where like they're joking with like Chandler and Monica, and like it's like, oh, I'm sorry, will you marry me? And then he looks over at Rachel. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we weren't on a break. Will you marry me? It's like everybody just leaves. It's like, Ross, fucking read the room, man.
Yeah, that's so funny. I love Ross. I do. I love him. Like, but he's an acquired taste. Have you been watching the latest season of Reacher?
I haven't watched any of Reacher.
Oh, have you not? Sorry.
Oh.
So Reacher's airing at the moment. I think the episodes come out on Thursdays as well. So like Amazon have like a new Reacher episode and a new Invincible episode on the same day, which is very nice if you watch both shows. But Yeah, I love Reacher. It's great. It's just I describe it as kind of like an 80s kind of action movie, but just like in 2025 in a TV series. Like, he's a macho, big buff dude and using his muscles to save the day sort of thing. Like, it kind of like
Mhm.
it's like nearly a nostalgia vibe. Um it's cool. It's cool. Like it's just like a fucking testosterone fucking filled just action show. Like he's like going around just kicking the shit out of people, breaking people's arms and stuff. Like he's so strong that he's able to just like snap people's arms and stuff. Like it's a bit ridiculous, but it's just so good. Like I love it,
Dude,
man. I love it.
dude, have you ever watched Landman yet?
No, that's on my list though. That's
Oh,
on my
dude,
list. I've heard it's
dude,
great.
Like Katie and I started it,
Yeah.
and like every time we watched it, like we would look at the clock and it'd be like, it's 11 o'clock. We really got like we have to
Yeah.
be up at 6. Like we gotta
Yeah.
go to bed. Like we can't watch another one.
Yeah. I'm gonna let it finish and I'm gonna just
It's
binge
the
it, I
season's
think.
over.
Oh, is it done? Yeah, okay, go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have a few things I'm going through. I'm watching The White Lotus at the moment. I'm catching up
Drop
on that.
it. Watch
I
Landman.
yeah, I'm not really loving White Lotus. A few of my friends, like I was out with a few of my mates, and they were like, "Oh, you're watching White Lotus?" I was like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, the new season's just started. It's you should watch it. It's really good." And I watched the first season, and I was like expecting it to be this like big like murder mystery show, like, and then you kind of just watched the first season, and I think we finished episode 5, and I was like, "There's only one episode left," and I was like, "We haven't like we still don't know who dies or whatever what's going on." I was like, "What the fuck is this show about?" Because like the way it starts and they're in the airport and you're seeing the dead body getting put on the plane. I was like, "Oh shit, is that his wife or who's this?" Like like and then for the first couple of episodes, I'm just like, "Okay, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die?" And I thought we were gonna see it earlier in the show, and then it was going to be like a kind of murder mystery show. They're all stuck on the island in the hotel and all. It just wasn't that. So it was just like it just kind of threw me off a bit. And then I'm watching season 2 thinking like, is this going to be season 2 like going to be more like of a murder mystery thing? Because again, it starts the exact same way. They're just in Sicily this time. And then it's like, we find out that there's a few dead bodies that have just been turned up. So I'm like, okay, at least they're turning it up a little bit in this one. But again, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so I don't know what's going to happen. But again, it's only 6 episodes. Like I'll stick with it. It's not a big commitment or anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought I was expecting more, especially with all the hype around it. Like it seems to be like a very much talked about show, and I just don't really understand. I don't understand the hype. Like it's cool. It's cool. The cast are good, and you know what I mean. Like I enjoyed watching a show where I fucking hated every single person on the show. Like it's rare. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, me and my girlfriend are sitting there, just like I don't like any of these people. They're all dickheads. I hate them all. Like they're all, I don't. I at one point I was like, I don't give a fuck who dies. I hope she's the one who dies or whatever. Like it's just like you're rooting for people to die, and it's just such a weird way of watching. Like obviously, most of the time, you fall in love with characters and you don't want to see them die. And this is a show where like everyone is just an awful human being, and like there was no likable characters in the whole show at all. I think I liked the manager of the hotel the most, and then he turned out to be a fucking psycho as well. Like, and you're just like, oh god, it's like there's no like redeeming qualities in any of these people. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm curious to see how season 2 goes, if it gets any better or whatever. But I hear season 3's airing at the moment, so I don't know. I'll stick with it definitely. But Landman is on the list, bro. I'm really looking forward to it. I've seen a couple of clips. One where like the daughter's talking to him about like her rules of like having sex and stuff, and I was just like, oh god, that seems
Yeah.
pretty grim. I'm like, I
Oh,
better not have a conversation with my daughter like that. A fucking hanger.
this
But
is definitely going to sing to you as like a foreshadowing of like, oh God, do I have to expect this?
yeah, no, I better not. Even just from that one clip, I'm like, oh god. And then I saw another great clip where he gives a great speech about like windmills and stuff, and I'm like, I want to watch this show because that was such a great like the clip that I saw was
It's
really
a
cool.
really good
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. So I'm in, man. I'm already in. Like even just from seeing those 2 clips, I really want to watch it. And I love Billy Bob as well. He's a fucking legend.
Fantastic. I think like
Yeah,
I
great
swear
actor.
he needs to be in more stuff, but I think he picks and chooses what he does.
I think he's earned that. To be
Yeah.
honest, like
Yeah,
it,
because
like
he
did you ever watch Fargo the series?
no, but I know he's been in some good stuff. Like he was in one of the Die Hard movies and he did a really good job in that one.
Watch Fargo season 1. Billy Bob is like one of the main actors in season 1 of Fargo.
Mhm.
Oh my god, it's incredible. Like it is 10 out of 10 TV. It's mind blowing how good it is. I didn't. It's actually funny because I watched the first season of that show, loved it so much, and then season 2 was like a kind of flashback season to before the events of
Mhm.
the first season. And I remember like I was watching with a mate of mine at the time, and the two of us watched as episode 1 of season 2, and it just didn't feel the same at all, and I just never went back to it. But I hear season 3 then is like Ewan McGregor's in it. And he plays like a set of twins and stuff, and it's meant to be pretty good. So I actually got to make a return to the show myself. But season 1 is just god tier. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
I'll check it out. I think I've heard like some people praising it, so like I'll definitely check out Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo. Even if you stop after season 1, I think it's worth just doing it for season 1. I think it's 10 episodes or something. It's mind blowing stuff. I think Martin Sheen's in it as well.
Nice.
Oh,
I like
like
Martin Sheen.
he's great. He's really great. Um, unless you have anything else to add, I might end it for the
Uh,
week. We're almost hitting the 2 hour mark.
just a quick question. So I know
Yes.
that we briefly talked about episode 7 of Invincible.
Mhm.
I forgot to ask this earlier. I I think that Rex Plode is still alive. What do you think?
I'd like to think that he's alive, because he's a great character. But I think if he's dead, I think that probably helps progress the story more.
Yeah, it's just hard to say that he is dead, in my opinion, because if anytime someone says that they died, if you die off screen, you're not
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, yeah. You can't
So
guarantee it.
yeah, because we saw he was putting him like he was going to explode his skeleton, but when that happened, we saw like the pan out, or we saw the explosion from like the top of
The bridge.
the bridge, and so like they in San Francisco or something?
I think so. Yeah, I think they moved to San Francisco and their base is at the top of the Golden Gate Bridge or some shit, or maybe
It's
it's in New
crazy.
York or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's in like the top of one of the bridges or whatever. It's a weird base that they have.
yeah, so like, but like not seeing it, I'm like, oh, he's still got to be alive, right? Because they did the same thing to Donald.
Hmm. Yeah,
So who knows?
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in the next episode and he's just fine. A couple of scratches. And he's like, "Oh, guys, yeah, that was crazy. That fight was wild." Did you like the electric dude, the villain guy? I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Did you know that was voiced by Aaron Paul?
That's what I brought him up. I was gonna say, yeah, Aaron Paul voiced him. Um, like wild as well because I think I paused the episode at one point and I saw Aaron Paul. I was like, oh wow, cool. I didn't even know because like
Yeah.
his voice acting was like really exaggerated and like kind of just he was real like kind of whiny and like if you didn't know it was him, you might not have picked it up. There was a couple of lines where I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like him, but like for
Yeah.
the most part, he didn't sound like himself at all.
Well, I mean, like I thought that it was very much akin to like his usual style as like Jesse Pinkman. You know how he would show like his anger and be like,
Yeah,
"I made you my bitch."
yeah. Yeah. But he did sound quite different, and like I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's a good thing because
Mhm.
it's a talent of being a voice actor. Like a truly good voice actor can just do 50 different characters, and each of them you don't even know it's them. Like Mark Hamill is up there, Troy
Right.
Baker is up there. Like these guys do so many different characters that like you don't even know it's them until you see their name written. You're like, oh shit, that's actually Troy Baker doing that. Wow.
Mhm.
Or that's fucking Mark Hamill. Like, Mark Hamill has a voice in this show as well. He's the dude who makes the suits and stuff. And like again, I didn't pick it up at first, but then you're like, oh shit, that is Mark Hamill. Like I kind of Mark Hamill's a little easier to kind of spot, like because he kind of has the same couple of templates and he kind of just draws on them. You can kind of tell how
It's
he kind
crazy
of
because
says certain words.
it's just his voice, man. Like it's just
Yeah,
unique.
yeah. But like he'll do like crazy different stuff as well though. Like he does have a wide kind of spectrum, but at the same time, there's certain words that he says that I know straight away. I'm like, that's Mark Hamill. I don't even need to check. I'm like, I know it's him. But Troy Baker is he's fascinating. Like
Yeah.
even just the Indiana Jones game. I thought it was Harrison Ford for most of the game. Do you know what I mean? Like
Wh-
that's how
Yeah.
good he was.
Which, by the way, I went back because they had made a new update so that you can actually complete like get all the achievements for the game. So I
Nice,
finally I got 100%. The last
nice.
thing I had to do was throw an apple at some guy's head.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I know like Clint is like that as well. Like he'll go back in 100% games, and I'm not really a kind of achievement hunter gaming wise myself, but I think the only game that I have a platinum trophy on the PlayStation is Spider-Man 2,
Nice.
the latest one. That's the only one I didn't even, I wasn't actively really trying to do it. I just loved the game so much that like naturally I did like 90% of it. And then I was like, I'm gonna try and do this last 10%, just kind of swinging around after I finished the story. And it was actually easy to do, to be fair. But
Dude, when I was still playing PlayStation games and when I actually went to the PlayStation Experience, I ran into David Jaffe, who was like the original director for like the first God of War game. And I remember telling him like, it's like, dude, I have like the platinums for like all the games. And I show him and like I'm missing one trophy and I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, ah, crap, I look like an asshole now in front of David Jaffe. Like I'm trying to show him like
did they add something and you lost it because it was like a additional content or
I don't
something?
think it's synced up before I left.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I'm like, I know I had the 100 like all the trophies.
Yeah.
And I was like that kind of nerd. It's like, dude, I played the fuck out of God of War 1. Like,
He looks at it. Did you?
did you?
Yeah. That's sick. That's sick. Myself and Clint are playing that Split Fiction at the moment. Great fun. Highly
Yeah.
recommend.
Mex was saying he wanted to play with me at some point, so I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to pick it up soon.
Yeah, you can do it like me and Clint were gonna flip a coin. Whoever lost buy the game because you can do like the friend pass thing with it. So you only
Yeah.
need to buy one copy of it. But I had said that I'll buy it, but I couldn't play it until Monday. And then I heard that he had bought it and was playing with somebody else over the weekend. So he was just that eager to get into it. That
Clint
he
was
himself.
even telling he was even telling me, he's like, hey man, I don't know if you're playing Split Fiction with anyone, but I'd like to play. And I'm like,
he's already trying to line up his third playthrough of it. Yeah. He's a madman for the game, and fair play to him.
yeah.
I guarantee if I open Discord right now, he's probably playing something right now. I think he is. What's he doing? I can't see. I think he is. I think he's playing. I think he's gaming right now. He usually is.
Mhm.
I'm gonna end it there for the week, guys. We're just about to hit the 2 hour mark. Massive thank you to everybody who came in. I appreciate all the new subscribers, by the way. I know. Shout out to Hefty. He's an Irish streamer who I've been kind of becoming friends with over on Twitch. He streams during the day when I'm working, and I've been lurking his streams and stuff. And he's got a cool community. And I think he had said that he was going to watch a bit of the stream today in his Discord with a few of his community. So I appreciate him stopping in and all the guys dropping subs and stuff like that, and everybody who hung out with us. I really appreciate it. If you're listening to us on a replay as well, make sure that you leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of Daredevil. Let us know what you think of Invincible and all that beautiful stuff. And also, just a quick shout out as well. I created a new clips channel, which you'll see linked at the bottom of the channel there. I have it linked in. If you scroll down to the end of the YouTube channel, you'll see it there. So I'm what I thought of doing was I'm just going to put all the shorts on there and see if we can hit like the YouTube algorithm a bit differently, just with like short form content on its own channel. Sure. And I'm just going to put up a few kind of reaction videos and stuff like that. So you actually might see some stuff going up on that channel that's not on this channel. So it's worth dropping the subscription on it as well. So yeah, appreciate anybody who has already. And if you haven't yet, please consider doing it. And we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.